episode of the Coaches Plug podcast. Y'all know what's up. We got the hottest of the hottest on always, artists, people in the music industry. And today is a special day. I have a special guest. This is awesome. Again, thank you for joining me. Welcome, Shabazz The OG. Everybody clap your hands, you know what I'm saying? At home, you watching. Wait. So yeah, we got Shabazz. So this is a pleasure to have him, and I'm just so excited to talk to you. So thank you again for joining me.
No, you're welcome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Brianna.
Yes, you're welcome. First off, let the people know where you're from and what you do for those who may not
know. Well, I live in Miami. I'm from Philly, but I was born and raised partially in Georgia. I do have a background in the music industry, but present day, I am doing the social media influencer thing, where I'm, trying to stay connected to our youth and our culture, our men and our women, for our corrective behaviors and conduct. And, I'm an author. I have a book. My book is out available on my website, Flip Your Life. It's available at ShabazTheOG.com. I'm in the process of doing the audio to that book, as well as different business ventures along with speaking engagements. So my whole thing right now is I still do consulting work in the music industry with independent artists, but primarily outside of that, I'm really focused on, my involvement with the influencing and what's been created by way of social media, because now it's like our latest form of entertainment, latest form of information, latest form of interaction and social networking. So my thing is to utilize it in a way where it's effective and productive, meaningful, and having something that people can have takeaways from visiting my page. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, explanation. Thank you for that. And we're going to talk about your, see, I thought I was going to interview you a while ago, so I wanted to read it before I interviewed you. Anyway, I'm still going to order your book because I read a little bit on the back and it was pretty funny. So yeah. Yeah, so we're going to talk about your book in a little bit, but I do want to get into you interning at a radio station, right? In Philly. Right. So I got a background in radio too. I'm going to school for radio right now, and I interned with the Mentor Hot 97. But talk about your experience in Philly at Power 99.1 with Lady B.
Yeah, with Power 99 FM, I was there. I was in high school when my internship started. When I was in high school, I was I was a rapper with two of my friends. Well, actually, I was the rapper. One of the other friends was the DJ, and the other one was the human beatbox, my man John Doe and Eric Day. Shout out to them. But in high school, we had our own little group, the Devastating Three, and we had a talent show. And Lady B came to the talent show. She was one of the judges of the show, and I met her that day. And afterwards, she revealed that she was looking for interns. So, I told her that I wanted to be one, and that's how I became her intern at the radio station. So that's where my tenure in entertainment began. That's when I started meeting celebrities. That's when my personality and my character spilled over into learning how to network and build relationships. It all started, that was the inception point when my internship at Power 99, and I had a great experience. I had a lot of fun because in high school I went to a communications magnet program in high school, so radio and television technology was part of what I studied. So at the time, it correlated with what I was in high school for. But I had a great experience there. I met a lot of people. That's when I met LL Cool J. That's when I met Houdini. That's when I met Run DMC. That's when I met New Edition. Will Smith. I met a lot of people from that internship.
I
And
bet
so
you
that's
did, because I did. Right, I did too, and man, it is fun. Like radios, I love it. I love it. That's why I'm still into that field. But yo, I was like shocked to know that you was in radio, so I had to like speak on that first because I love it. I love that field. But yes, let's talk about you meeting a whole bunch of celebrities. How did that impact like where you are today? You know, consulting with artists. Like, did that push you to do that, or you know, like
it kind of, so the internship obviously was, you know, me working with B at the time. You know, the responsibility was at that time, you know, calling different record stores about records that were out and stuff like that. And on Sundays for her street beat show, you know, whatever assistance she needed in studio or errands to be ran or what have you. You know, it was like, you know how it is when you're an intern, you pretty much like, you know, you're the dot connector for whatever they need you to be.
right,
Ultimately, like years and years later, I got into the radio promotions aspect of the business along with party promoting. So the celebrity aspect came from so many different angles. You know, like I said, being an intern, I met people. Doing radio promotions, I met more people. When I started doing parties, you know, you booking people now. So now you're meeting more people. You know, like a lot of my relationships started because I booked them to perform or booked them to appear.
right,
So, you know, my relationship with Memphis Bleak started from booking him. My relationship with Freeway started from booking him. And a few other people. So some of the relationships that I have now that are like really family oriented started through business.
right,
So, and the other part of it is, you know, just being somebody that they can trust, someone that they, your person and who you are, then it's like, okay, I trust this person to be around. You know, they got good energy, you know, they don't have any ill intentions, no
right.
malicious intent. Like this person is cool. So it's just really about just allowing people the opportunity to get to know who you are and you being who you are, basically, and everything else works itself out. And then obviously the world that we live in, people like celebrities and people like people associated with celebrities. So it's like it increases, for lack of a better term, it increases your brand awareness when people see that you're affiliated with these people, but you're also a real
Your
person
own individual, right?
and your own individual. Absolutely. Yeah. Cause I've never been compromised. I've never been, you know, labeled, you know, as someone that, oh man, here he comes. Like it's never been none of that.
Right, right. No, no. Man, that's crazy, but that's awesome. That you know, from one door opened up many other doors, and
Right.
you're still continuing. And so, I do know that like you've been in some trouble because in your book you talk about it, right?
Right.
Flip your
Right. Right.
life,
In my
right?
early part of
So
my life. Yeah.
right, right. Well, yes, in the early days. So how did you transition, like for those watching? Because most of my audience is male. So how do you transition like mentally knowing, okay, this is where I am, but this don't have to be my end destination, my fun destination, or you know, there's more to my life.
It comes down to what you see for yourself, what you want for yourself. So you really have to have some form of ambition and some form of vision. You have to have something that you want, that you're attached to. Like I've never been the type to have like big aspirations. Like, okay, my 5-year goal is I want to be here. My 10-year plan is I want to be there. Like that's never really been me, but
Yeah.
I've always liked nice things. I've always wanted nice living, right? But I also hated prison,
Mm.
right? So hating prison and liking the things that I like about life, clothes, looking good, smelling good, women, like all the things that you don't get in prison.
Right.
Like my motivation was my disdain for prison. Granted, did I still come out of prison and still take chances and risk with my freedom? Absolutely. You know, we do those things. But it's a different mindset.
Right.
Even though you might still take risks, you learn to minimize those risks. And the more you excel with things that don't risk your freedom, the less you do things to risk your freedom. So then it comes to a point where you'll tell yourself, man, I'm never doing these things again. Or the only way I'll ever do this is this. I had to get to a point where I had to tell myself, that's not even an option. So now my thing is, I'm not risking my freedom for money.
Yeah. I'm
not going to put myself in a situation where I'm doing something for money that could send me to jail. You know, and I just, you know, pray that I'm never in a position where I have to consider it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So like you said, you have a predominantly male audience. You know, I'll just say to them, the biggest part of staying out of trouble, if you've been in it, if you've never been in it, the biggest part of it is if you've been in trouble before, think, especially in prison, if you've been to prison or jail or in the county, just think, I told you, just think about what you felt when you was there. And this doesn't mean that you're going to immediately fly straight, because I understand the real world and it's rough out here and people will still take those risks and chances. I just tell dudes, listen, always exercise critical thinking and common sense. You know, because there are some guys who are in the street and they've made up their mind that this is what they're going to do because it's lucrative to them for whatever reason, right? But these are the ones who are going to handle the repercussion. These are the ones who are not going to tell on anybody. Like, they understand the life that they're living and they're ready for the repercussion, if any. So I tell dudes, if that's who you are, then that's your life. But if you're not prepared to go and lay down for X amount of years, then you need to examine what it is that you're doing. And if you have already laid down, you have to look back and think, like, do I want to go back there? I got out of prison. I got out of prison June 2nd, 1999, 23 years ago. As of June 2nd, that was 23 years ago, right? Yeah. I'm gonna say out of 7 days to this day, out of a 7-day period, I probably think about when I was locked up at least 5 days a week. I never forgot that experience. I never forgot how that made me feel. I never forgot the things that I saw, the things that I felt, the way I felt, like 23 years later. And I still think about this multiple times a week.
Right, like this is your reminder to stay focused, right?
Hell yeah, because I don't, it's something I never want to do again. And I pray to God I don't have to.
I pray to God too, because I think it's a mental thing, you know, like your mindset. I don't think people are really motivated.
It's mindset, but it's also circumstances, because people tend to give up on the journey and the work that got to get put in, because it's taking too long to get them where they want to be, because they're watching other people. People have to get comfortable with their own journey. So if you know you don't want to go to jail, you may have to go and get a job in the meantime while you chase a career or while you chase a better employment. But if you don't want to go to jail, you may have to preserve yourself by going to get a job. Now, if your man over here is still hustling, and your man over here is scamming, and your man over here pimping, that don't got nothing to do with you.
Right, that's their business.
But most people want to keep up with other people, and it disrupts their thinking and their journey, and then they end up getting sidetracked because now they're more focused on the destination than they are on the process.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that's like false loyalty? Because I think some people may think that's, I'm being loyal to my boy. I see him slacking. He will want me to be by his side, or this what ride or die is. But can you speak on, like, I guess the boundaries when it comes to loyalty?
Loyalty as it relates to
relations. Because if you see your brother doing something crazy because of a circumstance that he's going through, would you, like, some people might just be like, let me go ahead and ride for him or do this with him because
a few days ago, I put a post on on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It was a basketball game, and the guy was going down court, and he had a breakaway layup, so he thought, and the guy fouled him real hard, took him to the floor, and he jumped up. He was going to go after the kid,
right?
But his teammate caught him before he could do it, and grabbed him, and pulled him, and held him, and didn't let him go fight. And I said, this is what a lot of dudes in the streets need. He had two choices, because yes, the dude fouled him pretty hard.
Right.
So he had a choice to ride with his homie. He could have went and let the dude fight, stood there next to him, but guess what? Now his man get ejected out the game, maybe suspended for the next game, maybe suspended for the season.
Right.
But I'm riding with my man though. Or he could see what his man was about to do. His man about to crash and burn. Let me grab my man so he don't blow a tire. Right. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let me grab the loyalty is not riding with your man to go do some dumb shit. The loyalty is stopping him.
Mm-hmm. Like having his back so he won't make crazy decisions.
Yeah, you're not having his back by participating. You having his back by saving him.
Right.
Stopping him. Somebody in the clique I'm 54 years old. I just had this conversation a couple of days ago with one of my friends, and we talking about reminiscing over a course of time over the years. And he like, Baz, one thing I can say is you always kept the team level-headed. I'm the oldest, but sometimes the oldest, that don't mean nothing. Sometimes the oldest is most retarded.
Right.
But like he said, that you done kept a lot of dudes from getting hurt. You done kept a lot of dudes from getting robbed. You done saved a lot of people because you level-headed. You like, and so with people like what I do and who I am on social media that the masses get to see, I'm really like that in my personal life with my friends. And I'm not telling nobody what they want to hear.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you something to make you feel good. Again, I live in the real world, and sometimes things happen and things have to be dealt with in certain ways, and I get that. But for the most part, you have to be a thinker, and you have to weigh a situation and ask yourself, is this really worth my life? Is it really worth it? Like, because if I do this,
in the long
this is what's going to happen.
Right. What is the outcome? Absolutely.
Yeah, so you have, and I'm one of those guys. I weigh outcomes.
Me too. Well, I'm one of those women who weigh outcomes and think about the bigger picture. Like, this isn't worth my time or energy. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah. And I think that's, exactly what you explained. I think that's what's needed in today's times, because like with social media, it's good. It's a good platform and whatever, but it's like a lot of people think that accountability or being responsible is non-existent
No, that's a fact. Yeah, because it's so much easier to do something reckless and irresponsible nowadays because that's what's accepted.
Mm.
Nonsense is accepted now. Recklessness is accepted.
Yep.
Being productive on a lot of fronts, not all of them. But now it's like what's right is wrong and what's wrong is right. What's cool is not cool. What's not cool is cool. Like everything is reversed when it comes to social media.
Mm-hmm.
Not in
but
the
that's
real
not
world.
The reality, right?
Not in the real world. When you come off of social media and you come outside, we still have people with morals, values, people who are hard workers, people who are kind to people, people who are polite to people, people who still say yes, no, thank you, please, excuse me, pardon me. Men still holding doors for women. Like this is what's really going on outside. But when you go to social media, which I say is its own entity, it's its own world, just like the real life, just like prison life that's a life. It has its own rules, it has its own regulations, it has its own boundaries, its own do's and don'ts. When you come in the real world, things that apply in prison don't apply here, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have social media. Social media has its rules and regulations that don't apply in the real world, and vice versa. Social media is a place where you're going to receive whatever energy it is that you're looking for, because there's enough selections to go around. If you want positivity, you can find it on social media. Yep. If you're a sports fanatic, there's platforms for you to follow for sports. If you're looking for drama, nonsense, foolishness, you have a predominantly 90% chance of finding that on social media. You can find it.
Mm-hmm. That's well spoken, because I was actually about to say, like, where did you get your wisdom from? Obviously, you're very well spoken. You have a lot of wisdom, and I look at your lives and stuff sometimes, and like you're just very wise, and you speak to the youth, and you actually give them like great advice. So, like, where did this wisdom start? Obviously you're in age now, so
I've been intelligent my whole life. Thankfully, I've always been intelligent. I was reading the Bible and reading long biblical names when I was 5. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I could pronounce words that my mother couldn't pronounce.
Wow.
Like my mother would come to me and ask me, pronounce this word. And I was like 6, 7 years, like 5, 6, 7 years old. And I learned to do laundry. Like my mother was, I was going to the laundromat by myself to wash the clothes when I was 7, 8. My mother could send me to the supermarket to buy a formula for my little brother. And, I was raised by my mother. My mother showed me, like, as a man right now, I'm not a chef, but I know how to cook. I keep a clean home. I do my own laundry. I stay clean. Like so the person that I am is who I was created to be, but the values and the morals come from what my mom instilled in me. And then everything else, the wisdom, comes from living it. Like you said, you read the back of the book and it was funny, but that's the foundation of the book, me being hard-headed.
Right.
Because even as a child, if something I didn't know it then it was just called being hard-headed. Fast forward at 54 years old, it was being hard-headed, but it was also shaping who I was as an individual. Because now at this age, if something doesn't make sense to me, I still won't do it. And that's all I was doing when I was young.
Right.
Even though my mother is the one who was telling me what to do, it still needed to make sense to me. And if it didn't make sense to me, I would rebel. I suggest at this age to a lot of parents with young children, because our parents, my mom, my grandmom, and other people's parents are only parenting the way they were parented.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's like a domino effect, but you gotta unlearn.
Yeah, so they're only going to parent the way they were parented and what they learned themselves. A person, whether it's a parent or a teacher or a friend, when it comes to teaching someone else something, you can only teach what you know. You cannot teach what you do not know. And this is why parenting is an ever evolving responsibility, I'll call it. It's ever evolving, because now as a 54-year-old man, I would tell a person with young children, listen, discipline your child. But if they do this, or you don't want them to do something, tell them not to do it and tell them why.
Right.
Because we were raised on because I said so, which in turn created us to have a lot of ignorance, because we're not doing something simply because we were told not to do it. We know that if you tell somebody not to do something, you intrigue them to do it even more.
A lot of us be like, oh, it is what it is. Like, this is how I was raised. It is what it is. But that's not how life is. Like, you can change, you can evolve in anything. So I don't really accept that.
No, and you shouldn't. A lot of people believe that evolution means you're changing you. No, you can remain who you are as a person and change perspective. Look at something in 2022 that you looked at differently in 2021. Like I tell people, as much as people revere me and love what I do, I tell them, go back to 2016. Go back to 2017 when I was on here talking about, yeah, fuck this, and you goofy ass niggas, and you bitches, let me tell you bitches, y'all, that's how I used to talk. I'm still that person, but I evolved from projecting that onto people on this platform.
Right.
If I'm gonna talk like that with your friends in the private sector. But too many people revere you. Too many people look to you for information. Too many people like to hear what you say. They don't want to hear all that profanity though, dog. And I said this to myself. I checked myself on this. Wow. So I evolved from that. But did Shabazz change? No, I'm still the same person. My mouth can still be the same way, but I have a very extended vocabulary. I know how to speak very well. I don't have to use profanity to amplify my perspective. I'm comfortable with that when they can put their thumb on you. But when you move into a different realm that they either didn't see or didn't expect, instead of them tapping into why you and adapting, instead of them adhering to your adaptation, you fronting, you change, or you different.
Or somebody trying to tell you this, and right.
So, but that's a person who doesn't understand growth. That's a person that y'all grew up together and y'all used to hang on this particular block or at this particular store, at this particular party. And then you moved and you came home 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, that person gonna be right there and givers and takers.
Yeah, it's set up for us to fail, but like
it's not really set up for us to fail. The ecosystem is not set up for us to fail. The ecosystem creates the balance for us to make good or bad choices. So you're going to have up, you're going to have down, you're going to have good, you're going to have bad, you're going to have right, you're going to have wrong, you're going to have good, you're going to have evil, right? Those things are there so you can have choices.
Right. Right. And I say that a lot, that life is about balance. Everything is about balance. I do gotta go, but I do wanna this is very good. But I do want to speak on, like, what's your name mean? Shabazz the OG. Like, where'd that come from?
So you want to know where the Shabazz the OG came from, or what Shabazz itself means? Or both?
Both. Where it came from and what it means.
Shabazz is my Islamic attribute because I'm Muslim, and Shabazz, it has, you can find different meanings on it, but the foundational meaning of it is warrior, never to be defeated.
Oh,
so it's a very strong name.
Okay, okay. I thought that was your real name.
Well, Shabazz, my birth name is Eric, but I'm Muslim, so Shabazz is, figuratively my real name, because people don't call me Eric unless they're in my family or,
right.
Significant others that get to the point where I'm not calling you Shabazz like everybody else does. And that happens.
Right.
But
right.
The OG came from one of my youngins. His name is Roger Christmas. He's from Philly. He's a guy, he's my youngin, and he would call me, when he needed advice on, life, relationships, whatever, friendships, he was my young boy. So Rod started calling me OG. Actually, he used to call me Triple. He used to call me Triple OG. He used to call me Triple OG. He used to call me Triple OG. So I just attached the OG to Shabazz for social media purposes. But the name, the first person to start calling me OG was my young boy, Rod Christmas.
Okay, that's good to know where that name came from, because I was interested in that.
He got it, it was given. It was applied to me.
Applied to me. All right. And then, like we mentioned, you showed your book, Flip Your Life. So speak on that. Obviously you're speaking about your life experience, but let people know, like, what they can receive from that book by reading it, and where can they find it, and just support you.
To be honest, like I said in the I think it's in the preface of the book, that book is a mirror for our culture, for a lot of people. So my life reflects yours. You're going to read that book and you're going to see parts of your life. Someone else is going to read the book and they're going to see parts of their life. Someone who has never been in the streets, maybe not even grew up in poverty like we did, or a lot of us have, they may read the book and then they'll get a better understanding about people like us.
Right.
So the book, in essence, are chronicled details about my upbringing up to where I am now in life. And it shows some of my experiences and the outcomes of those experiences and the decisions that were made that prevented those decisions from being repeated.
Okay.
So it's almost like it's a story of my life, but it's also like a tutorial of what to do and what not to do. Okay,
so like you mentioned, maybe young guys looking at this, or people in the streets, they can read this book and be like,
oh, absolutely. Guys that are in the street.
Okay.
Guys that are in the street will be able to see, like, damn, he did that, and he did that, and he did that, and now he here?
Right. Yeah.
And he didn't travel a corny route, or he didn't travel a route where he compromised himself. When you read this book and you see who I am, it's like he's still the same person. He's just not doing the same shit. He didn't start putting on big suits and telling and talking down to people. He didn't start acting like he better than people. He's still the same guy, but he's not doing what I saw him do on page 36. You know, like he's still one of us, but he's not. So now how do I remain myself, still keep my swag, still be looked at as the same, still be respected the same, but I'm not doing the same things no more. So it's almost like making right cool. This book shows you how to stay cool and still do the right thing. Be cool and still preserve your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I made that. Yeah, so the book shows you how, we think running the streets, playing with guns, selling dope, fucking with a bunch of chicks and all that, that's the cool shit. So then if you gotta change your life, now you got to be corny, you got to be a square, you gotta look a certain way. But after you read my book and you see me, it's like, hold on. He was flying cool back then when he was doing the crazy stuff, but he's still cool and fly now while he got some sense.
Right.
He's still like women, he still dress fly, he still like big cars, like he still do and like all the same stuff. He just changed his actions. So dudes that's in the street that want to make the change, this book will show them, and who I am as a person will show them, like, I ain't got to lose my cool points. I ain't got to lose my swag. I ain't got to dress different. I ain't got to change that I like money. I ain't got to change that I like nice cars. I just got to change what I do to get it. So I don't lose my life or my freedom in the process.
Exactly. Yes. You always think about like the outcome of whatever you're doing. Exactly. Right. Yo, I enjoyed this conversation. I really did.
Cool. I'm glad you did.
This is awesome. Yeah, of course. This is awesome. I have some more questions, but I do have to go. But thank you for joining me, and hopefully you